Hello, and welcome to another Kaiju OC Profile. Today's monster is on a monster of great origins. A monster most powerful. He is a monster of the Cretaceous period. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Titanus Diabolus. Yeah, we're good. And we're still here with yet another Kaiju OC Profile. Today we're going to be taking a look at Titanus Diabolus by HelloMate483. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. Tidbits about this guy's OC. Now, of course, as we just mentioned, Titanus Diabolus, or Diablo for short. His height is 399 feet, length at 600 feet, weight at 170,500. Well, okay then. The age of this monster is around 125 million years old, nickname Demon of the Deep. Now, of course, when it comes to his powers here, he has no powers, but possesses weapons. His claws and teeth are laced with a powerful tetrodotoxin that causes fatigue in kaiju 20 minutes after the wound has been inflicted. And then, for the powers for Supernova, Psionic Impulse, Rings of Molten Lava, Molten Becker, Mouth Beam, Spore Burst, Back and Body Beams, Crackling Blazer, Tail Beam. Now, this is rather interesting. Very, very interesting here. So let's discuss a little bit on the height and length here. So, 399 feet. In meters, that is 121 meters tall. So he's a pretty big monster already. And when it comes to length, 600 feet, that is 182 meters. So already this monster is pretty well sized and well length. So with that in mind, the weight, I would say, would have to be turned down a bit. 170 is a bit too big and too hefty, even for a monster like that. Probably at around 70,000, around there would be fine. I will give him this, is that I really, really love the nicknames and the abilities that both the normal and supernova versions of Titanus Diabolus' powers and abilities. Obviously, when it comes to the normal one, it only has tooth and claw. That's all it has. But when it gets to supernova form, it actually has abilities and such, which I find to be pretty interesting. Not to mention the fact that the way he names some of these abilities, very creative. This is exactly what I've always mentioned in some Kaiju OC profiles, is that, some people just, go like, oh, fire breath, or, oh, like this and that, or, oh, atomic breath. This is a perfect example of it. Psionic Impulse, Molten Becker, Spore Burst, Crackling Blazer. These are creative names that if you were to hear these, obviously you wouldn't know what it was, but if you were to see it, or like if he were to tell you it, then you would see. Besides the questioning of the weight here, this whole stats and abilities is top notch. Alright, now we're going to get into the backstory of Titanus Diabolus. So yeah, this is all in the creator's words. Nothing's been changed. This is all in his own writing and his own, description of the backstory. So, let us begin. At around the Cretaceous period, a much smaller meteor hit Earth. On hit on on fuck. On this meteor was a parasitic fungus spore from space. In need of a host, it attached itself onto a Tyrannosaurus. The fungus took over the T-Rex. It began rapidly mutating and eventually grew bigger, stronger, etc. When the meteor struck and killed the dinosaurs, Diabolus was severely injured, but hung in there the radiation levels from the meteor strike. The radiation levels from the meteor strike was high, and Diabolus used that to heal itself and went to hibernate. Inside what would become the volcano Krakatoa. After its explosion, it finished its hibernation inside the Mariana Trench. It would then arise to aid humanity against the Kaiju Jajon, then returning to hibernation. Interesting. Very, very interesting here. Okay. And he also includes some extra details. Red or blue dots on its body are all points it can shoot its blasts from. Okay. Honestly, when it comes to its backstory, it's pretty interesting. You know, I will have to say that it's kind of weird of like an asteroid just having radiation, which is almost impossible. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, sure. It's an interesting concept of freaking a fungus spore that came from a meteorite from space. So yeah, this is a very interesting twist here. So honestly, when it comes down to it, I honestly don't see really too much wrong with this. With this backstory, it's obviously this monster is a monster that protects humanity from another monster that we are unaware of called Jahon. I don't even know how you would pronounce that, but that's essentially what it is. Yeah, just like the stats and the abilities. Just I don't see anything wrong with this one. Okay, so obviously, if you guys have not noticed, there are two versions of this monster. There's this version and the supernova version. But for right now, since they're practically almost the same design, we're just going to be looking at Titanus Diabolus' design, the normal one. So, yeah. Anyway, so here we have the Titanus Diabolus here. Now, obviously, visually, it looks pretty well structured as a decent looking monster. You know, we got sort of like a dinosaurian design, of course. And yeah, as you can see right here, he has some very large horns. As you can see, like just overall, its build, its overall look and design is a very huge, bulking monster. So I found that pretty interesting. And then as you can see, that's a nice notable feature is the freaking the tip of the tail is another mouth. So that's another interesting touch right there. I really like the way the sail or the back here looks from the design of this monster. Honestly, when it comes down to it, when it comes to the design, it's a very simplistic design. Just overall, it mostly just looks like a sketch. I hope that over time he does improve more on the design. Maybe we rework some things here and there. For example, like the glowing blue dots that he mentioned. I would say to put them in a row on its sides instead of just being like in like certain other places that make no sense. Like you can see, like it kind of looks like it's just placed everywhere across his body. Like it's not even like not really good. The horns, maybe add in a few more horns, I guess. One row, maybe perhaps. When it comes to the horns look pretty good, I guess, for the most part. I wouldn't say it's like... Now the horns, I would say to rework on the horns a bit. Overall, there's not really much else to it. The color, I like the color palette here. It's got gray and blue. And sort of, that's a nice little touch. But I would also like to mention, I mean, you don't have to, but I would suggest that you add more to the colors. Like maybe adding in dark blue areas or light blue areas on certain parts of the monster to make it really pop, you know? So yeah, other than that, that's pretty much what my thoughts are on his design. His design as a monster, it's pretty good, but there is a lot of improvement to be done. So, what are my thoughts on Hello Mate 483's Titanus Diabolus? Well, Titanus Diabolus's overall stats and abilities, backstory, design, everything like that, it's all pretty good. Of course, there are things to rework here and there on the monster's overall, like just structure, his abilities, and just overall, you know, just little things like that to make it really improve more and more. Once again, I do hope that he does improve more and more on the design to make it pop more and more. But yeah, other than that though, this OC is honestly a pretty decently made, constructed, very creative concept. You know, like just everything about this monster has a lot of imaginative but also creative aspects to it. Obviously the creator here obviously like put a lot of thought into the monster's overall, just like the way it is and all that. Like I mentioned before, there are some things to rework, and I hope, Hello Mate 483, successfully does that, I guess. Anyway, that's gonna be it for this video. Once again, guys, if you guys want me to feature your kaiju in a video, be sure to hit me up on Instagram and or on Discord. Those are the two places where I'm mostly active, so I'll most likely respond. So yeah, just hit me up. Anyway, not really much else to say, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this. I'll see you guys in the next one. And sayonara.